Hi everyone, I'm Janvi. I hope everyone's well. Today I'm going to be quickly showing you a timeline of admissions. A lot of people were saying, if I want to go abroad, when do I start preparing? And the answer is, if you're talking about paperwork and all, then that just happens a few months before. But mentally, the earlier you start, the better it is. But this is not to scare anyone. I myself was not 100% sure. In fact, the first time I even thought of going abroad and studying and considering that as a possibility was maybe in my last year of undergraduate, basically when I was doing my BA in St. Xavier's College. And I started hearing about opportunities because I was not very well aware. I was not a student who was born with a family who had planned that they will send their children abroad, because I come from a family of musicians, and so academics was not so much of a focus. And I always used to be intimidated by people who had planned things from their very early childhood, that my kid is going to go abroad and study. So I thought I could never do it because I had not planned it well in advance. And I never went and attended these IB board schools or those kinds of schools which are meant to prepare you for going abroad. But I would say that I don't think there's anything that impossible. People ask questions like, is Mumbai University considered valid if I want to take admission abroad? Overall, I would say that these are questions which seem very important and very huge. But to me, I feel like after getting admission for a PhD program here, I feel like these were very trivial questions that I was fretting about. I was worried so much for a very long period of time, which is not true. Because overall, I think the great part about university, at least in America, the universities in America, is that they are very open minded. They make exceptions. If for example, after my BA, also had written to a university, sending my mark sheets and my background and everything, and even if they require a 4 year undergraduate, they were open to, oh yeah, you can definitely try and apply, and we would allow you to apply. So I think universities here are very open minded and overall really nice. So I appreciate that a lot. It's not patthar ki lakir, which means that it's not like the universal law or things that you can't do a certain thing. For example, if you studied from an HEC college in your 12th, or like a state board in your 10th and 12th, I doubt that the universities here will come and say that, your parents didn't have, they didn't want to send you. Sometimes parents just, even if you come from a background where you may not have had that same opportunity, I don't think the universities will be like, your parents didn't have that time and the thought that they would want their kids to study abroad. And because your parents didn't teach you in an ICSE school, you're an excellent student, but because you studied in HSC, we are not going to take you. I don't think anybody does that. I think as long as you're a good student, no matter where you study, where you're from, even if it's from a very small town where nobody may have heard. I used to think, and I was told, oh my God, you come to the best colleges in Bombay and Delhi, and everybody will know those colleges. Honestly, people abroad may not know those colleges at all. So that doesn't matter. What matters, what they can see is your transcripts, basically your mark sheets, your scores, or your overall development. You write a statement of purpose, which is great, which is not something that happens in Indian education or admission system in most places. But here you write a statement of purpose, as in why do you want to pursue that education, where you explain your interest, and they see that. They're not going to go and Google your college and see how famous your college is, or what is the fees, or how many people go to it. So anyways, coming back to the timeline, and the reason why I speak about these things is because I do want to encourage students to not feel less confident because they come from not very rich families, or because they've not been into these best of the best schools and top level schools. I still think education should be accessible to a lot of people. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Dr. Ambedkar, and great example. So would definitely encourage, no matter where you are from. And I'm happy to answer questions, at least giving it a try. Whether you get admission or not, that's a different thing. But I feel like in the process of application and applying, whether I would have gotten or not, if I wouldn't have gotten into a PhD program, I was sure I was not going to come here for masters, because I knew that that's going to be a lot of expenses, which I may not necessarily want to do. And in the process of trying to apply for a PhD, I knew that I was learning and growing and developing in a way that even if I don't get into a PhD program abroad, I would stay back in India and continue to follow and pursue my dream, continue my education, and continue to make the kind of a difference that I've always wanted to make. Getting abroad would just make that process easier and more helpful. So I'm going to share my screen. I've just made like a small PPT, makes it easier to explain. This is cool, right? I get this from my university. These kinds of ready-made PPT styles. Anyway, so this is a general admissions timeline for the fall semester. These words were so scary for me. I didn't even know the meaning of fall semester when I was applying. Fall semester means, so there are generally sometimes 2 or 3 semesters in America. One is the fall semester, one generally is the spring semester, and one is the summer semester. Generally, I think summer is, not summer semester, but it's like summer course. But so most of the programs that I was applying to, at least in psychology, PhD, were only fall semester. So they accept admissions only once in a year, which means that fall semester begins in August. So you start applying the year before that August, basically December 1st. For example, if I wanted admission in 2021, my application deadline would be in 2020. So if I want to start in August 2021, my application deadline would be in December 2020, because obviously then the universities take some time to get back and to respond and select students, and then there's interview process and a lot of other things. And by April, you come to know whether you got in or not. And then your visa process starts, which is also a time consuming process. So that's why the timeline is like that. So I'm going to speak about fall semester. There are also some other courses. Like I have a friend here who's doing a PhD in chemistry, and he joined in the spring semester, which starts in the month of January. So there are 2 semesters. I have a fall semester and spring semester, but I can never start at spring. Everybody starts at fall. It's not like half students come in the spring and half, but in some courses they are, even I think computer sciences, basically I think they have more money. I don't know what, but they have more students coming in the spring semester also. But here I'm going to talk about fall semester. Okay, so you have to find out what are the required tests for your course. At one point, GRE was important for literally every course, but now I learned that a lot of courses in psychology realized that GRE was not useful, not an accurate measure of how good you would be in a psychology course. So a lot of people let go of the requirement of GRE, but still some colleges require, even in Canada, lots of colleges require you to do a GRE even for psychology. If you're trying to do, I think, anything related to science or computers, basically I believe you will need to take the GRE. The others are like GMAT and LSAT and all of these others that you may want to see as per your course. So if you want to do law, medical, just make sure that you know what is the required test. This is like basically a qualifying exam which every student takes, where you get a certain score, and then based on that score you get into universities. TOEFL, I believe, is compulsory for everyone, because it is an English language test. I can make a special video on TOEFL also, because I was freaking out about that also, because everybody around me was like, TOEFL is so hard. And I knew some people around me who used to go for tuition classes, and they said that you can't pass TOEFL without classes. And then I had a friend who was pretty good in English, and she went for tuitions 3 times and still couldn't clear it. And so basically, in short, I think it's not as hard as it is displayed. And the problem, I feel like a lot of problem in India is also because a lot of people want to make money out of your fears. So a lot of coaching classes may just scare you to death that you cannot give this exam without classes, which is not true. If you studied in an English medium school and you've done your education throughout English, I don't think everybody requires the classes for TOEFL. They have a very nice book which you can buy online. I think it's 2000, around 2000 rupees, and it comes with a CD and everything. And I think that is pretty much sufficient for you to study by yourself. In fact, even things like GRE. So I'm going to make a special video about that, but make sure that you know the required tests. Now I'm going to talk about the timeline. You have to check the deadlines. First is, I mean, some of my colleges, even for fall semester, were in November and in December. So 1st of November was a deadline for certain colleges, and 1st of December was a deadline for certain other colleges. This is both for fall semester. Now, like I said, that there is also a spring semester which happens in January, which begins in January. So I'm assuming that if a semester begins in August and the deadline is somewhere in December, which means that if something is starting in January, the deadline should be 4 months before that, like the previous year. So it should be, yeah, in the middle of the year somewhere. But I would again encourage you, maybe I might make a separate video with someone who's applied in the spring semester. Then I've written how much time does it take to get these test results. Generally, they say TOEFL would take 6 business days, GRE would take 15 business days. So you need to give these tests and make sure that you have the results sent electronically to the universities by the deadline. And I'm going to talk more about that soon. But so you need to know the deadline. For example, if the deadline is November 1st, I think in my mind I had kept a November 1st deadline for everything, even though my deadline was December 1st. And trust me, even if I kept a deadline in my mind of November 1st, literally I started applying gradually to different programs, probably started applying from 1st of November. It did take me a whole month, because even if you take 2-3 days to revise yours, you to go through and to fill the form and to pay the fees and everything, it might take 1 or 2 months to actually, if you're applying to, I had not applied to a lot of universities. In the US, I'd applied to only 4, but say if you're applying to 15 universities, or if you'd applied to 15 universities, it seems like it might take you a good 1 month to get it done. Okay, so or more than that, sorry, 2 months to get it done. So make sure that you keep that in mind. You also need your statement of purpose, your letters of recommendations, generally 2 or 3, transcripts, basically mark sheets. The official transcripts or mark sheets need to be done after you get admission, but until then you do need a transcript. Basically, it's just scanning. What I had done was literally used cam scanner, like, or a phone scanner, camera scanner, and scanned my mark sheets and sent it. So these are transcripts. Firstly, these words also, like being a student who had nobody to answer questions at that time, I used to feel like, oh my god, what is transcript? Like, is it different from mark sheet? And then you Google it and then you feel like, am I doing the right thing? But basically, it's your mark sheets. Okay, let's see. Okay, so for example, if your deadline is December 1, GRE. So many people may take the GRE in April, so they have time to take it again. GRE is a test which you can, for example, if you're not very happy with your scores, you may go and give your test again. So some people take it in April so that they get done with it. And if they get good scores, great. If they don't, then they might want to take it back again, say in August or something, study more. So I would say remove the, like, this would be like in April. So December 1, for example, 2022. Okay, I should start writing this down. Okay, I think I just don't know how to do it. Yeah. So let's assume that your deadline is December 1, 2022. Your GRE, okay, many people may want to take the GRE by April of 2022, so they can have more time to take it again. So April or May of 2022, you may decide universities. What are the universities that you want to apply to? Do you have to reach out to professors to see if you're eligible to apply or not? It depends on your course and your universities. So do you need to reach out to them, find that out? Find out by April or May what universities you're interested in. What is, for example, you may be interested in America. The good thing is that you have so many options. So if you're interested, like me, I was specifically interested in research in positive psychology, but very interested in counseling psychology. So I started looking at lots of universities, and just imagine the university I found had a PhD in counseling psychology with a research focused. My PhD advisor focuses on positive psychology. So getting that kind of a match, and an ideal, for example, if you're interested in automobiles, what is that kind of maybe automobile engineering that you're interested in? How do you look for it? You're interested in, say, history, sociology, chemistry. What is it specifically that you're searching for? Look at those universities, find that out. Okay. So for example, I saw counseling psychology universities. I saw universities that had a PhD in positive psychology. I was also interested in social psychology because some things of positive psychology may overlap there. So started looking at that. So looking at those universities, start doing that, I would say, in April, May. And this timeline I've made it because it's not like you have to spend 8 hours a day doing this. The reason I've made this timeline so spread out is because I'm assuming that a lot of people are applying while they're still in college or while they're doing a job or other things. They might have a family, or procrastination could also be a reason. But we such that sometimes there might be a week where you didn't do anything at all, or maybe there might be a week where you could spend 4 or 5 hours, depending on variability and flexibility. That's why I've made a timeline which is so spread out. So I think April, May, spending a little time searching for universities, doing that would be great. In June, I would say that reach out to your college professors for your letters of recommendation. So I was in St. Xavier's College. I went to my professors, met them in June, asked them that I need to apply by December. I need a letter of recommendation. So you give them at least some time, because if I tell them in June, they have June, July, August, September, maybe October. They have enough time because professors are not sitting free. They have so much responsibilities. In India, in some colleges, it's like 120 students per class, and they're teaching so many different classes. So give them the time and space where they can think, they can process, they can plan, manage. Maybe there might be a Diwali vacation which might come in. Give them that time. Tell them as soon as possible when you've decided that I'm planning to apply abroad. You can tell them to write a letter of recommendation, and then they start making it as per universities later. You don't need to tell them that these are the universities, but you at least need to tell them that I'm thinking of applying abroad and I need a letter of recommendation. I think July, it's like getting things in place, basically knowing a little bit of what you want to do, that this is which countries. Some people want to apply together in Australia, Canada, and America, for example. Some people just want to apply to Canada, just to America. Know those things. Find out what universities, start making a list. So these are also things that I will gradually start covering in my videos. Start getting things in place. This doesn't mean get everything done, like get your transcripts, SOP, LOR, everything done. No, you don't need to do that. This is just have a timetable in mind. In August, you can start working on your statement of purpose. Well, for me, the whole journey of writing a statement of purpose was a journey to knowing myself better. And I started thinking of my statement of purpose a year or two in advance, maybe 3 years in advance, of how would it be, what would I like to incorporate. I think, yeah, I started thinking about it a little bit in January of 2018, when I had to apply in, say, 2020 December. So 18, 19, 20, I had some time. I was thinking of my experiences. What do I want to incorporate? It was a great process. I got to know myself better. I would definitely encourage you. It doesn't mean that you need to do that too. And it doesn't mean I was thinking 24/7, but like once in a while, occasionally, once in a month, once in 2 months, I think about it. So it was a process of knowing myself better, connecting the dots from past, present. That's what Stanford University is. One of the speeches of, I think, Steve Jobs is about connecting the dots, and that kind of was really helpful to do that. So anyways, so August, maybe you can start thinking, writing your SOP. Maybe if you have to take the GRE again, find out a time. I'm going to show you how to find that out, time and date. But anyways, taking any tests, maybe you have to take the TOEFL, maybe you've not taken things like that, getting those things done, very important. I think September, if you can, because September 1st to, say, December 1st would be the deadline. Like application periods open. You have to also find out whether your application is a rolling application, rolling or not. Rolling means that so a lot of universities, most places that I applied to was like this, that they wait for all applications to come in till December 1st, and then they review literally all the applications, and then they give admission to the selected few. So in my cohort, I believe 7 of us, we're 7 of us right now. So to select those 7 from all the applications that came throughout September 1st to December 1st. But some colleges have a rolling application, which means that they start reviewing applications as soon as they start getting it, which means that people who applied in September, say in the month of September, 100 people applied and they have 50 seats, and they found 10 good candidates from September, they will fill that seat. Maybe in October they found another 30 good candidates, they will fill that seat. And then in November and December, maybe very few seats are left to apply through November. So find out what your applications are. If it's rolling, then it's best to apply ASAP, because as soon as the seats fill out, you will not get a chance. Tests, find out your test centers and dates. I know everybody does not live in Mumbai, Delhi, or like these major places. So some people might have to travel for a GRE test or a TOEFL test. And I would say that this is how you go on the website. This is a picture from the website. GRE ETS, I think, is the website. ETS. So go on Google, just type ETS, and ETS has GRE and TOEFL. So now I went to GRE, and these are the dates that the green ones I believe are available in March and April. So yeah, that is what it is. And yeah, majorly things to consider. Scholarships, the reason why we also want to get things done in time is some scholarship deadlines are before application. So some people want to see whether you got fellowships or not before you got admissions. Some scholarships may be after you get admission. So you need to find out about scholarships. A lot of times people miss out scholarships because they were not aware of the timeline or of the date, or they did not know that they were supposed to apply for scholarships before getting admission. So finding that out in your college, and knowing that. And the best one thing that Indian students, I believe, hesitate a lot, and from my personal experiences too, and from people I've heard, is we don't ask questions. Don't hesitate, ask questions. Scholarships, find it out, Google it, ask people read more. I believe the more you research, there's so much opportunity out there, but it's like people don't have the time to research it. So find that, give yourself the time for tests to be given, mark sheets that you might have. Maybe some colleges you might have to go and try to get mark sheets. Like in my situation, because of COVID, mark sheets were not in my hand. Obviously my final semester mark sheets were not expected to be there, because a lot of times you apply when you're in your final semester, which means that they don't expect you to. They will see your first 3 semester mark sheets, say in a master's course, and then they might give you admission. But no matter what, you need to get these things ready before you're able to apply. Go on the websites and find that out. I believe, I hope that this is helpful. The reason I want to go through it in such detail is because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything at all. I hope this answers some questions, and I'll try to make as many videos as I can. Sometimes it's just hard to be able to manage my schedule as a student, as a PhD student, plus we have to do practicum. And then while I love connecting with students and enjoy being able to be an instrument in any ways that I can, because I personally feel that lots of people have helped me, and without their help, I wouldn't have been able to do what I am able to at this stage. So I'm more than happy to answer questions, as many as I can. Please post them in the comments, and especially if questions are very common, I will end up making a video on them. So I hope this helps. Just to give a summary, start up in April. See if you want to give the GRE. In fact, if you want to start studying for GRE, count some months before that also. Otherwise, if you're planning to give GRE later, then you can use this time to study for it. So April, maybe giving GRE, May, June, deciding what colleges you want. July, kind of figuring things out, putting it in paper that these are the colleges I may want to apply to. And these are the things, application materials I require. So putting that out on a paper, drawing it somewhere, making a map. August, maybe if you want to give the GRE, for some people who've not given it in April, or other tests that you might require, doing that. Then September, again, starting your application, and obviously writing your statement of purpose in August. Getting your letters or recommendations may not be very easy. Teachers are busy. You may have to remind them a couple of times. So sending those reminders, teachers have to directly send it to the university. So you have to go on the university website to check if the teachers sent letters of recommendation or not, and things like that. So it's very important that you get things done in time, because sometimes you also need to remind your teachers. You need to find references. You need to get things done. So this is like overall a general timeline. I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any questions. I wish all the best to students who plan to a plan, who dream to a plan, I would just say there's no harm in dreaming, and nobody is small or big enough to have a dream and achieve it.